I have one thing to say to people like you. I like Star Wars too. Care to join me?
You know, going up into areas like downtown Los Angeles is like going out with the boys after a night at TGI Fridays. You get suckered in with the tequila, margaritas, and endless Spanish food, but then the next thing you know, you're waking up the next morning covered in blood with a stuffed llama next to you holding a knife in your neighbor's backyard, and for some reason, they're upset at you. Sorry, Kyle, we gotta get better communication on these things. And here, I thought I was done making bad choices for the night. Until you got that one buddy that gives you a bottle of Jägermeister. Let's have some Beetlebummer. Feel that feeling creeping up on you, my dear sinners? It's the Keaton verse, which he has been used over and over again by Hollywood. Yes, you know?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Michael Keaton has been used more than a fresh pair of socks at a college dormitory. This guy is getting pulled over left and right, especially when he's coming to do Batgirl. Let's bring back Michael Keaton. But
I wonder when that's going to air.
so let's bring back his legacy characters once again. Let's bring back Michael Keaton as Batman for The Flash. But now, Mr. Keaton, we need you to hang up the cowl once again because we're going to be pulling you back to 1988 and bringing you back in 2024 now for Beetlejuice. Let's just get this over right off the bat. For a man that is pushing almost 74 years old, Michael Keaton has not missed a beat in Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. The guy brings the same energy, the same charisma, the same excitement as he did in 1988. The guy just cannot stop. His work is impeccable. Even when you look at the legacy of the original, it was great. It was done very, very well. The characters were set up perfectly. But as far as legacy characters, Michael Keaton is the one that steals every scene that he's going to be in. You can tell that him and Tim Burton still have that great connection, that great dichotomy when it comes to work. But Beetlejuice Beetlejuice introduces new characters that bared no reverence. Willem Dafoe plays a police officer, along with Monica Bellucci, who's essentially a soul sucker, which, hey, you go ahead and you get yours, girl. She's only got a little on screen time, only for maybe 30 seconds at a scene. But even though the comparison that they have, you could have taken both of those characters out of the movie, and it would have made no difference. So let's get the plot summary over, shall we? Winona Ryder brings back her same original self, and of course, they casted Jenna Ortega as Astrid as her daughter. You can't deny the relationship that these two have. Even the simpler looks. Let's face it, Wednesday made Jenna Ortega a star, and she's been doing very well. I wasn't sure how she was going to be in this movie, but I gotta say, even with the weird relationship that she has with her mother, they come off very well. They are well-structured characters. You can see that Jenna Ortega has a new relationship that even her mother tries to warn her about. But even with the plot a little bit messy, it works out very well for these two. Astrid befriends a strange boy named Rory that, ironically, no one else is able to see but her. But that's because Rory is actually a ghost who wants to befriend Astrid so he can stay in the land of the living. Rory's character had a very interesting arc, but honestly, it's a very simple concept that could have been done a little bit better. If only he was trying to have more of a deeper plot with her and a connection, that would have been much more interesting. Speaking of something that's not going to be as interesting, one of the lesser performances was from Winona Ryder. She does a much more better job in Stranger Things, but even after a dark funeral, which we'll get to in a hot minute, her character just didn't come off as good as it used to be. Even with her dealing with a stupid boyfriend that she has to deal with that is even trying to marry her, you can see the controlling aspect where it just makes her feel dumbed down and useless. Even though when we had to talk about bringing back legacy characters, there is no legacy left for this idiot. Naturally, he's the one that died. He is seen leaving this world after a plane crash, but I wonder why they couldn't bring this actor back. Because this dumb idiot decided to completely ruin his life and deserves to be, well, burning in hell down here with me for all eternity. After Astrid has to deal with Rory, it's up to Lydia Dietz, her mother, the Ghost Whisperer herself, to get a hold of Beetlejuice and use him again to save her daughter. This was an interesting plot, and don't get me wrong, Michael Keaton did a great job trying to bring everything back, not like the originals, to help save Astrid. But unfortunately, dealing with his now crazy ex-wife who elects to be that nasty little soul sucker, it's going to be helpful. But Willem Dafoe's character does try to get involved and we're even going to see the simple aspects that Michael Keaton is still able to bring along with Tim Burton. But even though Michael Keaton is still going to be doing his best, the plot, it was still not as good. Monica Bellucci still did everything that she could, even though as Miss Stapleface, who was trying to marry Beetlejuice. Naturally, this dude ain't having it. It must be the Staples, I think. But even with everything else, Willem Dafoe's character does not get a lot of screen time, but they didn't need to introduce these new characters. They didn't need Monica Bellucci. They didn't need Willem Dafoe. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they got a great paycheck out of this. But even with everything else, the characters did what they could. And honestly, when it comes down to looking at everything, I'd still have to say that the first Beetlejuice is going to be my favorite. I do recommend everyone go see this movie. It's good. It's a cheap, dumb, fun movie if you want to go ahead and turn your brain off. If you think Michael Keaton still did not bring it after being almost 74 years old, I would disagree. This man still got it. How much longer he's got it, the world may never know. But I do have to say the plot ends up very well, and this is the time where they need to stop making sequels and remakequels and prequels to all these movies. But I do have to say, even Mr. Sinister has to give his credit, this was still done very well. The humor was on point, sure, sometimes a little less than others, and some were a little bit cheesy, but the plot wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. And naturally, if you thought Alec Baldwin was going to come back for this, well, I think he's a little busy.
You serious?
Let me know in the comment section below, what did you prefer, the originals or Beetlejuice Beetlejuice? And as always, until we meet again.